Hi guys. I want to preface this video by saying that makeup is all about self-expression and there are no real rules. These are just my preferences and techniques I really hate to see. And I'm calling them techniques to try to be polite. I don't really consider them techniques, maybe more lack thereof. So I've been wanting to do this video for a while just because I see this all the time, and I think if I were making a really unattractive makeup mistake, I'd want someone to point it out to me. Unless it was something I really loved. You know, some people really love the looks that I'm gonna show you that I don't like, and just carry on with those. If that's how you like to do your makeup, go for it. This is just me saying that there's a way I like to do it better. Sorry about my hair. It's starting to feel really damaged, so I'm just trying to let it air dry. So yeah, it's kind of a mop, but it's fine, don't worry. So I'm gonna do what I've seen a couple of people do, and that's do half their face the way I like to do my makeup, and then half the face the way I don't like to see makeup. And that way, you know, if you are doing any of the things that I don't personally like, and you decide, oh, maybe I don't like them that much either, or maybe you didn't realize you were doing them, then I can kind of show you a way to do it better or different. But like I said, I know no matter how many times you say it in these videos, you're gonna get a lot of hate, but do your makeup however you want. However you want. I mean, I don't actually care. You know what I mean? Like, makeup is for fun. It should just be for you. But if you are trying to achieve a look and maybe falling flat, maybe this video could help you a little bit. So anyway, keep watching if you want to see that. So I'm going to start with this Real Techniques base shadow brush. And I'm going to start with MAC eyeshadow in Concrete. And I'm going to do the eye the way I don't like to do it on this side. And I'm going to start with that. So I noticed a lot of people going into the crease with a really dark shade. And I'm sure you're not using a brush like this because it's kind of hard to get a really unblended look with a brush like this, but maybe people are using like a pencil brush and just not blending and not putting any base. Okay, so there's no base on my eyes right now. I'm not wearing any makeup, so nothing to stick to. And that could potentially be why some people get a really muddy look. So I've noticed a few people doing this really perfect like semicircle. And not blending it out. This is hard. And then most of the time when I see this, people do have it underneath, but very much the same thickness all the way across. And then people don't even connect these two, probably not so dramatically. Oh, maybe people are using these, the ones that come in the palettes? I don't know. Don't use those. And then I noticed people wanting to deepen the crease a little bit more, which I get it. I'm cool with that. I'm going to show you how to do that on this side. But people straight up use black. And again, don't really blend. Kind of like that. And then people use a highlight shade. And all this logic, I mean, the thought is there. The understanding of multiple colors in a smoky eye is there, but it's just not being executed properly. It's often heavy-handed, and definitely with the highlighter, I've noticed so much heavy-handedness. People are putting like, just putting a crazy amount on there. Oh yeah, that's what I'm seeing a lot of, this. People also put it in the inner corners. And then for eyeliner. Now, I think people are using liquid liner. I don't own any liquid liner right now, just because I find it way more difficult to work with. And I think people must be using an angle brush. And I'll show you what I'm seeing. First of all, what I'm seeing a lot of is people not going all the way down to the lash line, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so see how the makeup literally isn't all the way down to the lash line? Down to the lash line. You're not getting what you're aiming for here. This is something I know you're not getting what you're aiming for. You're looking to define your eyes and bring attention to them, but what you're really doing is bringing attention to a really, really sloppy line. I'm not about getting perfect lines with eyeliner. I don't think it's necessary. I think you can get something really nice with kind of a smudged out line, or even a line that isn't necessarily perfectly smooth. But when you don't go all the way into the lash line, I'm pretty sure the original purpose for eyeliner in modern times anyway was to thicken the lash line. I mean, that's what eyeliner is usually used for, is to make your lash line look thicker. So if you're not even bringing it to your lashes don't look thicker. And it just looks like you maybe did your makeup drunk. And then another thing that I'm seeing is, instead of tapering out the line at the end, first of all, people go straight out like that. Yes. Oh my God, exactly. It's so hard for me to leave it like this. But people are doing a straight line out and not blending it. Now, this may be exaggerated a little bit, not necessarily, but this is just showing you the type of makeup that people are doing that is just not great. I'm trying so hard to be polite. It's hard. Everyone has their own preferences, right? And when we see something that isn't our preference, we really don't like it. And so that's basically what this is. It's just not my preference. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of this. And then I've seen a couple people also thickly draw a line underneath. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other eye and then I'm gonna move on. Oh my God, my mirror, sorry, it's so dirty. I'm gonna do the other eye and then I'm gonna move on to the eyebrows. Okay, so if a really blended out smoky eye is something you are trying to achieve, you wanna start with a base. It doesn't have to be an expensive base, but investing in an expensive base is such a great idea, because then even if you're using cheap eyeshadows, which I definitely do, you're gonna get a much better payoff, you're gonna get a better blend, it's just gonna look overall smoother. So it is a really great thing. If you're gonna invest in one thing for eye makeup, I definitely say a base. So that can be a primer, that can be a paint pot. There are a million out there that you can choose from. But that will just bring all of your eye makeup to the next level. It also conceals any veins you may have, any skin discoloration on your eyelid. This video isn't just for the people who are doing their makeup like this and like it. If you're doing your makeup like this and you like it, go for it. Like I said, keep doing it. But I know a lot of people are trying to achieve what I'm gonna do over here, and people come up to me and say like, oh, I just can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. And for me, it really helped when I used to watch YouTubers do this kind of video when I was like 13 and 14 and learning how to do makeup, because seeing it done incorrectly often helps you pinpoint what you're doing wrong. So maybe this video could be really helpful in that way. Okay, so you wanna make sure your base is smooth too. This needs to be blended so that you don't have any like straight up lines. I'm gonna use the same colors to show you that you can get a really subtle, smoky eye with colors that can create something really, really extreme as well. So I'm gonna start with Concrete like I did with the other eye. And I'm gonna put that underneath first, but much, much more gently. And a really good trick is to start with the bottom lid, because then you can just follow it up, and that'll show you where you should end your crease. Because that's another thing I see is people going too far down. Extending the crease outwards and upwards can be really beautiful, can do a really intense cat eye look, but you never really want to be bringing your makeup down lower than your lash line, because that's just going to make a droopy effect and like an undone, not in a good way, effect. So I'm going to get a little bit more on my brush. Another tip is start with only a little bit on your brush. You don't have to load your brush up so much when you first start. You can always add more product, but it's a lot harder to take away product. With a smoky eye, blending is your friend. Keep blending, don't stop blending. Oh, another good tip is to do your foundation afterwards, because then even if there's something you want to clean up along this edge, you can using your foundation. I would also advise not going too dark right next to the nose like this. It's just not as flattering. And it makes your eyes look a little closer together. When you have the product where you want it, you can kind of remove some of the excess on the brush, on your wrist, on a Kleenex, whatever. And then when your brush is pretty much clean, you can just go over this a bunch, doing big old windshield wiper motions. And then you can always add more. I'm going to use my Sleek palette, which is what I used for the black and the highlight shade over here. I'm going to take that highlight shade on a slightly thinner brush. This is a MAC 217. There's lots of cheaper brush brands that do really great brushes, though you don't have to have MAC. I just collected MAC when I was younger, so I have a lot of it. And then just put that right under the arch of your brow. It doesn't have to go all the way into the nose, and a little in the inner corner. Instead of putting black in the crease when you don't really need it, if you want to go for something really, really intense, then do what I did with the blending brush and add just a little bit, starting kind of right here, and just blend it up a little bit until it's just noticeable. And not necessarily noticeable that you've put black right there, but noticeable that your crease looks deepened. But what I'm going to show you is, if you're kind of a fledgling eyeliner doer, a great way to teach yourself to do eyeliner is to do it with black eyeshadow first. Something great about black eyeshadow is that it's easier to work with, easier to smudge out if you make a mistake, easier to find a shape over here that you like using black eyeshadow, and easier to wash off. So instead of putting it in the crease, I'm going to use black eyeshadow as my liner. And I'm using this Quo angled brush and the black from that Sleek palette. And I'm tapping off the excess, because when there's a bunch of excess on either side of your brush, you're not going to get as clean of a line. I always start right in the middle. And then I move out towards the edge. And before I do any kind of wing with black eyeshadow, eyeliner, anything, I finish the main portion of my eye. And then you want to look in the opposite direction while you're doing your inner corner, if you're like me and you blink easily. And just push the brush in. And then make sure it's all the way to your lashes. Then looking straight forward into your mirror. Draw whatever kind of wing you'd like. Looking straight forward, okay? Don't pull on your eye, don't do anything, because you want to see what you actually are going to get. You don't walk around like this, you don't walk around like this. So do it exactly how your eye looks naturally. Then you can lift your eyebrow and fill in that line. Don't change it. Just fill it in. Now, make sure that the bottom of your line and the top of your line are even and smooth. And then if you want to define your lower lash line a little bit, take your angled brush and go right up against the eyelashes. Just on the very, very outer corner. You shouldn't need more than that. Now onto eyebrows, which have been a hot freaking topic for the last couple of years. Something I'm noticing is people drawing their eyebrows on with too dark a color. If you're blonde, you want it to be 1 to 2 shades darker than your blonde hair. If you are brunette or black hair or whatever, then you want your eyebrows to be 1 to 2 shades lighter than your hair. That is what's gonna look the most natural on you. Now, I'm an unnatural blonde with dark eyebrows, but I'll show you what I do to conceal that and make it look more natural, okay? But here's what I see people doing right now, because the thick eyebrow trend is huge, and people wanna partake in it, which I understand. But right now, here's what I'm seeing. People drawing a straight line and then a straight downward line and going too far. Your eyebrows shouldn't go much farther than when you hold your brush up to your nose and then line it up with your eye. That's where your eyebrow should end. And then people draw their inner corner in, which you shouldn't be doing. It looks totally boxy, unnatural, drawn on. Some people love the drawn on eyebrow look and some people really rock it, but I'm just gonna show you how to do a natural brow on the other side. So people literally draw a box and then they draw the top part of their eyebrow in too. And they do too pointy of an arch. So do you see how this color is way too dark and way too warm? That's what I'm talking about. So I don't know that many people that do all of these things I just mentioned. I do know a couple who really have eyebrows like this. Most people are doing one of the few things that I mentioned. So either extending their eyebrows way too long, doing the box, wrong color, pointy lines. So here's how I like to do my eyebrows. So I'm gonna use Concrete, the same shade that I have in my crease, on that angled brush, which I just wiped off. And I'm gonna draw my bottom part of my eyebrow. And I like to have a smooth transition from the body of my brow to the tail. There shouldn't be like a corner. And the reason I use a darker color down here is because I don't really have eyebrow hair down there. It's kind of just like a mess of sparseness. So I use a darker color to define that part of my eyebrow. Then I use an ashy blonde, like Omega. See, this is a really nice, not warm at all shade. It's really, really ashy taupe. That's what you want if you're blonde, is a taupe for your eyebrows. If you want to do dark eyebrows with blonde hair, I like that too. That's great. It's beautiful. I mean, you don't have to do what I like, but that's also not really a no-no. just showing you how to do natural eyebrows if you're a fake blonde like I am. So then I put in my tail. And then from the point, I literally position my brush where the point of my eyebrow is and start drawing backwards. Backwards through the hair. Drawing on top of the hair like this is not gonna lift the hairs and make them look like they're the ones creating the shape and the color. And then at the front, instead of drawing a box, I just kind of scribble in with my brush when I don't have very much product left on it. And I even blend with my fingers when I do this. And you want to make sure you're not missing any parts of your brows. Make sure it's all filled in. So see how much softer that is? It's still a really bold eyebrow. I love really, really bold eyebrows. It doesn't necessarily look natural, but it also doesn't look so unnatural and so drawn on. I like when my hairs at the front are all kind of lifted like that, pointing straight up. And I do like to kind of mess with the hairs around here to make it look like I have more eyebrow hair than I actually do. And if I find something is too harsh, which can always happen, I just use my finger to blend it out a little bit. I like really natural looking brows, no lines and no perfect boxes. As for mascara, something I see a lot of people doing is not curling their eyelashes. Not everyone needs to curl their eyelashes. But if you have eyelashes like I do, and excuse my eye, it's gonna start watering now because of the sun. Anyway, what I wanna say is, if you do have eyelashes like mine that are very, very downwards pointing and kind of curly, and I don't mean curly like that, I mean curly like crazy curly, then you're gonna wanna curl your eyelashes because I'll show you the difference. You'll see on each eye what a difference curling your eyelashes can make. I haven't put mascara on uncurled eyelashes in so long, years. Okay, so hopefully you can see that these are really wayward. They don't look uniform at all. Maybe if I turn to the side, you can see them a little bit too. I don't know how well you can see what's going on here, but this is not a good look. I've got lashes pointing in all directions. They're pointing quite outward. They look very stubby. I have some pointing right into my eye, which is really uncomfortable. So that's not a look that I enjoy. The way I curl my eyelashes is by starting at the root. And I kind of pump the eyelash curler a couple times. And then working my way up to the tips. You don't want to go all the way up to the tips because then you're going to get eyelashes that kind of go like backwards. Just until you can get kind of a uniform curled eyelash. Now I have really rogue eyelashes, so they're never going to look quite perfect, but this helps so much. Now I wiggle the brush from the root to the tip. In the inner corner I have my eyelashes pointing a little bit towards my nose, not right towards my nose, but fanned inward a little bit. In the middle I have them pointing straight up, and then on the outer corner I point them kind of towards my temple. And when I have eyelashes that are kind of out of place, like if there's some that just won't curl, I just remove the mascara from them so that they're not as prominent. And I always put mascara on my bottom lashes as well. Okay, now that we're done with all of that, hopefully you can see the difference between these two eyes. This is really fun to do so far. I'm gonna move on to foundation now. The number one problem I see with foundation is people using the wrong shade. I only have the one shade, so I can't demonstrate that for you. People also use too much foundation, Or when they have dry skin, they use powder foundation. If you have dry skin, really consider using a liquid foundation. It's gonna sit lighter on your skin, first of all. It's gonna cling less to the really dry parts of your skin. And it's gonna, instead of perpetuate the problem, conceal it more or less. You also wanna make sure you're always blending your foundation into your hairline. And even if it's the exact right color, just blend it down to your neck a tiny bit, just to be sure there's no line of demarcation. Something I see a lot of people doing is using a small blush brush, which I don't feel like hunting down right now. I'm just gonna use my kabuki brush. But, and using a really orange shade and drawing a straight up line where they wanna contour. Plus people also go too far in. This makes me sad to look at. If you want to contour and you want to really go ham, go for it. A lot of people do that look really, really beautifully. I prefer a much more subtle look. And I have noticed this looks really pink on camera. It's not. MAC Prism. It's a really nice taupey brown shade. I'm going to use the same kabuki brush. I'm just making sure I get most of the product off of it. And you can use the edge of your brush. See, like I'm doing just the edge. But instead of drawing a line, blend it on there. And a lot of people say go to where the inner corner of your eye is. I think that looks crazy as hell. I go just to about the midpoint of my cheek. Blending upwards is going to create the illusion of a higher cheekbone instead of blending downwards and just kind of making yourself look gaunt. Plus, it'll probably be more noticeable that you're wearing something. And it's not like we're trying to hide that we're wearing product, but if you look at someone and see the lines of where they put something, it's just not as attractive as a more blended out look. And you can always add more if you want a more extreme look. I often blend it up to my temples a little bit. And make sure this is also blended into your hairline. See, I still have shape, but it's much more subtle than the other side. Then as for lipstick, I've noticed people trying to rock a dark shade, and I'm so into that. I totally am a believer in the dramatic eyes, dramatic lips look, but you want it to be applied properly, okay? So on this side, I'm gonna show you what I've been seeing. A whole lot of this. Now, from far away, this doesn't look very bad. It's not too shabby. But the application is not good. You've got this crazy line going on here. It's kind of bleeding outside of your lip line. If you want to overdraw your lips, totally. I love that. It's awesome. I overdraw my lips pretty often. But just make sure it's a nice smooth line and not too far outside of the lips that you can really, really tell there's a straight up line. So the way I like to apply lipstick, which you don't have to do, so I like to just take my time, draw a line, and then I almost always use my finger just to blur the edge a little bit. See, so my lip looks really full. The dark color is applied nice and evenly, but it's less of a harsh line along the edges, and it looks more smooth and more lip-like in my opinion. A lot of people still really like to do the perfectly drawn on lips, and that looks great. This is just a different option. So there you have it. That's the end of this. So much fun. I actually really enjoyed doing this side. So if you're doing it because you really have fun doing it, keep going. If you do it because you love it, keep going. I just prefer a more natural, defined look. Not that this is natural, but it enhances your natural beauty instead of just covering everything up. So let me know what you think. Like I said, I had so much fun filming this, and for the, just one final time, you do not have to do your makeup in any way. Do your makeup however you like it. Don't listen to anybody who's telling you it doesn't look good if you love the way it looks. But if you're doing it like this and you're trying to get more of this type of look, maybe this video will help you out. So thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave me a comment on if you think there's something you don't like about the way I did this side, because I'm always open to criticism. So I'll see you guys again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.